One of the flagship characteristics of humans is that we are curious. For hundreds of thousands of years, we have gazed up at the night sky with that same curious energy. We would always ask these same questions. How did it begin? How did we get here? Just the origin. We would always wonder about our origin. This curiosity fueled the birth of the greatest and most influential religions, ideologies, and political systems, or even experiments in our history. We were different from our ape ancestors. We questioned the world around us and we found ways to figure out what was happening. We created ideologies and superstitions to find a way to explain this incredible reality we live in. As we progressed through the age of major religion and through the age of superstition, we discovered patterns in the world around us. We discovered that it is possible to explain our existence through reason and scientific observation rather than faith. The poetry of reality we call science was born. We were now finally able to begin to ponder and explain that question we had asked throughout our entire history. How did this all begin? How did the universe begin? Yeah, no, the one question we have today is, how did the universe begin? This is obviously a very controversial question, but I love controversy, and considering the scientific consensus is pretty strong on this, I wouldn't really call it controversial. It's just controversial for religious people. Fundamentalist religious people specifically. The principal theory surrounding the origin of the universe is, of course, the Big Bang Theory. You either know what the Big Bang Theory is because of the show, or you know what the Big Bang Theory is because you're a science nerd just like I am, or you've just heard of it. It basically states our universe was a point of infinite mass, density, and heat, or infinite temperature, called the singularity. They say it occurred around 13.8 billion years ago. Of course, that can be different. I mean, depending on the experiment, sometimes it's 13.5 billion, sometimes it's 14 billion. This small universe expanded extremely rapidly from the singularity, and it seems like it was much, much faster than the speed of light. Actually, the universe is still expanding faster than the speed of light, but we're not going to talk about that. While there is obviously strong mathematical evidence surrounding the Big Bang, we also have strong physical evidence that support it. The cosmic microwave background is the evidence, the physical evidence that we have. It's basically a constant stream of radio waves coming from everywhere in the observable universe. It's the photons, the remnants of when the universe finally became transparent enough that photons could actually like maneuver, that it became cool enough that light was transparent to electromagnetic radiation, which means that the radio waves would obviously be able to move around. These radio waves are emitted at near complete uniformity amongst the entire universe, with some slight deviations in density, around 1 in every 100,000. That's obviously a slight deviation in density. But yeah, so there are a few theories surrounding the origin of the universe. So specifically, the Big Bang, the creation, the cause of the Big Bang. The strongest theory surrounding this would be something that Stephen Hawking pointed out a lot, especially in A Brief History of Time. When I read that, he pointed out quite often. Basically, as you get closer to the beginning of the universe, to the Big Bang, the physics of the universe begin to break down. Like, everything starts to make absolutely no sense. It's just like the fundamental physics that we look at all the time, the fundamental physics we can measure in today's universe, they just go all wacko. Specifically the quantum physics. And because of that, it is believed that not only did the physics of the universe break down, but actually the dimensions of the universe. And we live in at least a 4-dimensional universe. Three of them being length, width, and height, of course, but the other one being time. And basically, they say that the breakdown of time The breakdown of time as a dimension means that time didn't exist at the singularity, which means the events can't occur because they're not separate of each other. They are always intertwined. There's no time involved because they cannot occur separate of each other. It's kind of hard to follow. Let's just say it that way. Basically, they're saying that, okay, let's just say I got my first car. It's a singularity. I got my first car at age 26. But if time doesn't exist, I also got that same car at age 4. The exact same car, no matter whether it was created when I was 26 or created when I was 4. And the fact that I wouldn't even be 26 in the first place, I would be 0, continually 0. Events can't even occur when time doesn't exist. So that means there's no such thing as a cause and no such thing as an effect, which also could translate to an infinitely existing universe, which basically would be be where the universe expands and then contracts back to the singularity. Singularity again expands. So basically you have infinite universes. But that hasn't been well proven, considering the expansion of the universe hints at a strong possibility that we will be expanding for the rest of time until time itself dies out again. Well, that's depressing. Of course, quantum physics it can be wrong. It can be wrong. Right now, that is the most probable thing. I mean, it seems kind of crazy. I mean, it's there. Everything's fringe at this point. When you get closer to the Big Bang, everything's fringe. It's like the Wild West of science right there. When you go out to the near the time of the Big Bang, it's basically like the Wild West of quantum physics, which quantum physics itself is the Wild West. So it's the Wild West of the Wild West of quantum physics. But yeah, so we're intelligent, but compared to the universe, we are incredibly naive and puny. Our minds are very tiny against the great array of this incredible universe. So our brains are not the greatest. They force us to believe that every single thing in the natural world occurs without cause, with cause. Like the universal law of cause and effect, because everything to us seems like it has a cause and effect. Like there's one common saying, every action has an equal and opposite opposite reaction. I think it's something like that. It was I think that's Newtonian physics. Our brains we are pattern sensors. We love patterns, but when patterns don't hit, we need to find a way to adapt. And maybe the universe existed without a cause. Maybe it's just here. I mean, we try to explain God in that way. Why can't we explain the universe in that way? It's the same thing. Not necessarily. I mean, science is obviously looking for methods. And we still want to believe that everything had a cause. And there are other theories, like string theory is another great theory. It could prove that it's just a multiverse. Everything exists. There's just an infinite number of multiverses, and we're basically just another singularity that was expanded upon. There are a million theories, but so far, in my opinion at least, that is what I believe, and that is also relatively considered to be the scientific consensus. Though with the origin of the Big Bang, there really is no scientific consensus. We don't really know yet what happened at that time. But yeah, anyways, thank you all for watching the first of many videos I will be releasing every Sunday in the future. Thank you for listening to the first episode of Learning by William, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you live, or depending on when you watch this, because right now it's bright out. Like it's around noon, or well, it's 1 o'clock, but you could be watching it at 3 in the morning because you have nothing else to watch and you're obsessing about a girl and you're trying to get away from that. But I don't know, or a boy. I don't know. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.